Hey, what's happening, Nation? It's Joku. I want to take a deep dive into this wide receiver room tonight just because we are sitting so incredibly deep at this position. Right now, if you count Dylan Stoner, we currently have 11 wide receivers on our board right now. We have to cut it down to 5 starters, then we're going to put 1 or 2 on the practice squad, and then the rest of these dudes are going to end up getting cut off this team. I know I asked you last video to put your thoughts out there. A lot of you guys were coming back with the same exact thing, but I don't think this wide receiver room is anywhere close to being done. I think you're going to see a ton of these names on the back end shuffled around. Just yesterday, you saw us get rid of Jordan to bring in Lacey. And I honestly think you're going to see 1 or 2 more of those type moves before this whole thing ends up completely shaken out. But I wanted to break it down tonight with what we currently have on the roster. So we're not going to waste too much time. We're going to go ahead and jump straight into this. If you are new to the channel, if you think about subbing up, I really would appreciate that. It really does help me out and keep me growing. I really try to avoid all the clickbait and all the bullshit and just stick to what's actually happening with this team. So let's go ahead and do this. We'll start with the blatantly obvious. We're going to go ahead and take Devontae Adams and move him over to that keeper side. It would literally take hell freezing over for him not to be on this roster. And then after that, we're going to go ahead and take the best slot receiver in football and move him over because these are 2 of our main weapons on the offensive side of the ball. I was happy as shit when we ended up locking Hunter down. So those are like the 2 obvious keepers. Let's go ahead and make a quick cut real fast just to kind of free up this list a little bit. In my personal opinion, I think Chris Lacey is only here for a couple of weeks and you're going to see him shuffled right back off of this team. So he's going to end up being the first dude that I put on this cut list. I know there's a few people in the nation that were pretty jacked up about him coming over. I just do not see that shit working out at all. Now, if you look at the rest of the names on this list, this is honestly a pretty open battle. With the exception of Demarcus Robinson, I am telling y'all right now, I am expecting that kid to end up having a huge damn season for us. The fact that they're going to have to worry about Adams, the fact that they're going to have to worry about Renfro, and the fact that they're going to have to worry about Darren Waller is going to leave him singled up in one-on-ones all the damn time. And Derek Carr is going to exploit that shit. I'm not saying he's going to have some breakout baller season, but I'm saying that you're going to see him stretching the field for us in those one-on-one situations. And we all know from past experiences of watching him whip our asses, the kid can make some serious plays. So I'm definitely going to end up moving him over to the keep list, which will give us our starting 3 wide receivers. You have your number 1, you got your number 2, and you got your slot. All right, now give me just a minute to shuffle this around for a second because Tyron Johnson, Cole, and Mac Hollins are the 3 big names that you guys were throwing around in that comment section that we're going to end up making this final 53-man roster. But we can only keep 5. We still have 7 dudes sitting over there waiting to see if they're going to end up cracking this 53. This is where this shit got incredibly hard for me because if you look at this and you look at those 7 dudes sitting over there, there's nobody that's really locked in to take that number 4 and number 5 spot. I know a ton of y'all are really high on Johnson. There's a few of you guys that hit me up that said Cole could end up being the real deal. And there are so many of you that are so high on Mac Hollins right now, it blows my fucking mind. I'm not going to lie to you. But I really do feel like it's going to come down to those 3 dudes to fill that 4th and 5th receiver spot, even though I do think there is one other sleeper on this list that does have an outside shot. But let's go ahead and make another cut and put a dude on the practice squad real quick. The next cut that I'm going to end up doing, it's DJ Turner. I do not think he's going to end up making the final 53 on this roster. I think you're going to end up seeing him cut off of this team. And it might piss a few people off, but Turner's name was not popping up in my comments section, I will tell you that. And as far as on the field play goes, I've seen what he can bring to the table. I know what he can do, and I just do not think he's going to end up making the final 53. Now let's go ahead and put somebody on the practice squad. You got to have a couple receivers sitting on your practice squad. Out of this list that we have right now, and I don't even know if this kid's going to end up making the team, but I want to see Isaiah Zuber make the practice squad. I know he's not going to end up cracking that 53. There is no chance in hell, but I really think that kid has a ton of potential in him, and I really want to see him stick on this team in some way. So the practice squad is the way to do that. I don't think anybody's going to swoop in and try to pluck him off of that shit or anything like that. It'll give him a chance to really learn this offense, work with the organization. I really think in the future that kid has a possible shot of stepping up. Now it's time to fill that number 4 spot on our keeper roster, and I will tell you right now, I have racked my freaking brain on who is going to end up getting these final 2 wide receiver positions. And from what I've read and from what I have seen on the field, I really think Tyron Johnson's going to end up locking down that number 4 spot. This kid has a ton of talent, and he's extremely versatile, and I really think that he can make an impact on this offense if he's given the right opportunity, and I really think he has a legitimate shot at having that. All right, and then let's get into these final 4 right here. I'm going to go ahead and move Dylan Stoner's name up just so we keep him in the group. You got Cole, you got Hollins, you got Hall, and you have Dylan Stoner. We have to keep one more, we have to cut another one or two, and then we have to put one more onto the practice squad. This next move might end up pissing a few people off, but I honestly think that the injury that Dylan Stoner suffered is going to keep him out of camp, and it's really not going to let him be able to put on display the talents that he does have. It's going to end up getting him cut completely off of this team. It sucks to say because I know a lot of people love Dylan Stoner, but they love him because of his name. They don't love him because of the talent that he brings to the field. And so now we're down to 3. We have to keep one, we have to cut one, and we have to put one on the practice squad. This is where it became incredibly tough. And a lot of it's from like my own personal opinions because I really want to see a damn kick returner and punt returner on our roster so Hunter Renfro's ass does not have to do that. I've said it in the past, you are setting that kid up for injury for absolutely no damn reason. I think last year he proved to everybody that he has way more value and he doesn't need to be sacrificed on your punt returns. I'm not saying that he isn't damn good at it, but I saw him take some shots where I was like, oh shit, he's definitely hurt. And by the good grace of God, he was able to pop back up, but I'm not willing to chance that shit through another season when we have a legitimate shot at making a serious push. And out of Cole, Hollins, and Hall, Hall is the best return man that we have out of these 3. And I really want to stick him on this 53-man roster. I just don't think that shit's going to happen. In my own personal world, if I was the GM of this team, I would keep Hall as my 5th, just to have him as that return man, somebody that could possibly fill in if Hunter ended up going down. But my gut tells me that shit is not going to happen, so I'm going to have to move him over to the practice squad, because honestly, if somebody does go down, we can end up moving him up, and then he can take over that return game. I'm really hoping that he does earn a spot, though, as that 5th receiver on this 53-man roster. But as it sits right now, and with this wide receiver room being far from done, I'm just going to say that he's going to end up being the next practice squad player, which kind of sucks, but it is what it is. And then we are down to 2. You got Hollins and you got Cole. And so many of y'all are so high on both of these players, and I understand why, I get it. But one of these dudes is making the 53 and the other one's getting completely cut off this team. And the dude that's getting that 5th spot on our 53-man roster is going to end up being Mac Hollins. He's going to end up beating out Keelan Cole. We've seen Keelan Cole throughout the years. He's never been able to really take that next step. I really think the Raiders are going to recognize that. He's just going to be there through camp. He's going to end up being one of the final cuts that we end up making to get down to our actual roster size. So Keelan, dude, I'm really sorry, but you're going over to the cut list. The way that I end up seeing it shaking out, man, you got Devontae Adams, you got Hunter Renfrow, you got Demarcus Robinson, you got Tyron Johnson, and you got Mac Hollins. That's a pretty damn solid wide receiver core. And honestly, if you get behind those 5 names, it really starts to get a little bit weak. We honestly have some pretty good depth at that position. Maybe things will change. Maybe somebody will start to explode and really start to get that rapport with Carr to where they're starting to shoot up the depth chart a little bit. I just don't see it happening with the names that we have on this list currently. And the fact that we still have to address a few things on this offensive line, I wish the Raiders would stop fucking around and paying these wide receivers to come in and out of our camps when we could just put all that money towards one solid right tackle that's still sitting on free agency. Go pick his ass up. I don't know, man. Let me know what you guys think about this breakdown. This is just how I see it shaking out. I'd really like to see your opinions on it again. Let me know if you agree or disagree. But I'd be pretty damn happy with this starting 5 right here. That's pretty much what I have for you guys tonight, man. I really appreciate y'all checking out another one. I don't know which room I'm going to do next, so definitely let me know which room you want to see get broke down. I'm probably going to end up doing the offensive line next just because it is pretty deep. There's just not a ton of talent sitting on it right now. But until then, I'm Joe Q. Thank y'all very much. We will catch y'all in the next one.